This is our story from May 16th, 2025. The Kentucky EF4 tornado. Do you want me to start it?
Yeah.
Okay. I got one notification on my phone for a tornado watch. That was the only thing that I received on my phone. Around, it was like 10, maybe a little after 10. Until that point, we just knew it was supposed to be a thunderstorm. That's all we knew. And I don't know, about 10:15, we lost contact with each other.
Yeah, 10:15, 10:30.
I was at work till 1:15 at night, and so on my lunch break at 10 o'clock, I think we were talking a little bit, and then you said that you might lose power. I think you said it was blinking or something.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, there were some blips. The wind was picking up a bit.
Yeah. So we ended up, I could tell with Messenger if she opened it or not. So then all of a sudden she just stopped opening it. So I tried calling and it wouldn't go through. So I knew we lost power, which is very normal out here. But when we lose power, we lose internet because they're on the same poles, and also it required power to run the internet. So
yeah, we're completely dependent on Wi-Fi for calling, texting, anything. There's no cell service here.
It sucks, but it wasn't a huge deal until it was. Not long after that, we got the tornado warnings. At that time, it was kind of scary because I didn't ever go through this before. And when we were all in our storm shelters that they have there at work, they started showing us pictures. Like, I have AT&T, so I have no phone service at work or at home, anywhere around here. But people with Verizon were showing me pictures and videos of what was happening in the town that we always go to, and it wiped out a lot of stuff over there, and it was heading right towards our town, or
our
area.
Our neck of the woods.
Our neck of the woods. And then it started really like sinking in. Holy crap, like, there's not many people out here. There's one fire hall, like 2 churches. I don't know how many people live out here, but there's not a whole lot right in this little community. Took a pickup in our area with a kid and a dad or somebody. It was like 2 people in the vehicle, and it flipped them. It took them down an embankment or something. I don't remember exactly that story. And they were showing pictures and video of the tornado, and it was at night, but like some of the pictures of the housing that it just destroyed, and it really started freaking me out because I have zero communication with her. She has no communication with anything anywhere. She has no idea what's going on. So it put me in a really weird spot, and I would have got in really big trouble if I'd have just left work. And I was at a weird spot because I didn't know if I should just say screw it and leave and risk my job and not really have anything here to worry about, because I didn't know the exact path. I didn't know if we were fine or not. Or should I just stay till 1 o'clock and then get off like normal and then try to get home? And so do you want to talk about your experience at that time?
Sure. So while he was dealing with that at work, we had lost power, which I wasn't too concerned early on because we tend to lose power whenever there's a storm. But the wind had started to pick up, and then at, I think it was 11:17 p.m., I got the tornado warning. I had no idea how close it was to us, if it was just a general one for the area. But where we live, there wasn't really a place to take shelter, and with how much the wind was picking up, I don't think it would have been safe to try to drive anywhere. But the wind kept getting stronger, like ridiculously windy. And then it just started to rumble, like a thunder rumble that just wouldn't stop. So I started getting nervous, and then the house shook, and then I got scared. It was just me and the dogs in the darkness. So I grabbed the dogs and ran to the bathroom, because that's what you do in severe weather. You park it in the bathroom.
It's the most centered room of our trailer.
Yeah, it's the most interior
windows.
room. No windows, no anything. Now, we live in a trailer, so if anything severe was coming through, I don't know how much that really would have helped us. But I hung out in the bathroom with the dogs for about 15 minutes until things settled down. Eventually, it quieted down. We went back to the bedroom, and it was just really quiet. It was like everything had just stopped. There were a couple trees down in the yard, but other than that, things were fine. So we kind of settled down and just waited until you got home, because there was nothing else we could do at that point.
As soon as I could get off work, I left. And we have 3 ways into where we live here. And it's basically 3 bridges. So I came the normal way home, and I was about a mile from our house. And it was closed because the fire company was there trying to cut down the trees, and they hit power wires. So they said now it's our electric company's problem. They have to come out and turn the power off, make sure it's dead before they can continue cutting. So I couldn't get through there. Asked them how long, and they said we don't know. They said they had an entrapment and a missing person, and they had to get to them. So they were waiting to get the electric company out here to work together to get through. And it's a mile from our house. I was heading home. That's not something you want to hear. So I took a whole bunch of stone roads and dirt roads up here just north of us. It took me like 40 minutes to make that loop to get to where I was, right up the road here. And I was about a mile from the house up this way. And so I got out, looked around, and I kept hearing like this like cracking and like a tension wire, kind of a weird sound. And I got to looking. The trees that were all down on the road in front of me pulled down the power wire, broke the pole, but the power wire was about 2 feet 2 feet above my truck, and the pole that I just passed, I didn't even see, was bent like a banana, and I was directly underneath that power wire. And of course, it was pouring down rain. It was in the dark. At this time, it was like 2:30, maybe pushing 3 o'clock. And so I couldn't get around the tree because it was just, there was a ditch, big tree, and I walked around the tree, and there was just nothing but trees out through past there. And I was like, there's nothing I can do. So when I was backing out to try to get turned around, I did see the sheriff for this area, and he told me just to go into town and get a motel room, because he said he don't think there's any other way to get into here. And I was like, well, that's not happening. I can't do that. So I went back out onto the main road, took the highway, went right past work, and went out to the next town over. And it was about an hour and a half detour from where I was, out and around. And then I came back through, and sure enough, the tornado passed over on this road in that other town, but it didn't close it down. There were power wires down, but I was with a couple other cars trying to get to this area, and we just drove over the power wires. There were branches and stuff, but we just kept going. We just made it happen. It was after 4 o'clock in the morning by the time I got home. And so for almost 6 hours, dang near 6 hours, I've experienced one of the scariest things that I think I've ever encountered. I had no idea if the tornado came up our holler right here. I didn't know what I was about to find, really. It was a very weird feeling, because not that far from our house, a lady was in the basement with her husband, but she got sucked out of the basement, and they found her dead out in the field. And that's not far at all from our house. It completely destroyed their house, and he ended up having a heart attack due to all this, I assume. And that was the entrapment that they were trying to get to, as well as the missing person was the lady who was killed. So like, and we're in a trailer, we're in a single wide trailer, Like, it don't take a whole lot for this thing to maybe disappear. And with the video clips that I have that I'm going to play after this, you can see what a mobile home does in an EF4 tornado. So it was a very scary time.
Yeah.
For many, many hours, and not knowing what I was about to see. But thankfully, we just had like 4 trees around this property or around our house that fell, but none of them damaged anything. And up through our property here, like the northwest side is completely destroyed. We lost a few acres up there for now. But I'm not even complaining about that. I'm not even, like, it's not at all what our neighbors experienced. So
we were incredibly fortunate.
Yeah, we're
incredibly fortunate.
We will take some down trees. That's fine.
A lot of our neighbors lost everything.
Yeah. So 2 of the neighbors right against our property line down here, one of them lost their roof, the other one lost the whole second floor of their house. And it's really sad to see. And right behind us, up on the hill here, are some of the video clips that I'm about to show you guys. They lost everything. I went and talked to them a couple times now, and they had a cistern.
A system.
Because they were very old homes. So I didn't know what a cistern was, but it's where they, way back in the day before they had water out this way. I don't know why they didn't have a well back then. Maybe they just didn't have the ground, or like it wasn't a good well. I don't really know. But anyways, they had a really big tank. I guess it was all concrete. And it's typically under the front porch. And they would come through kind of like a fueling truck, and they would fill it up with water way back in the day, and that was all your drinking water and your everything water, I guess. But anyways, since then they ran water up through here, and all these cisterns are in these old homes not being used. Well, this one guy up here, he started making it a storm shelter just in case. He wasn't even finished with it. It was in a process. He had no door on it. And yeah, it saved their lives, because if it wasn't for him, well, I think his wife is who actually insisted on him to make a storm shelter in the first place. And then also, he was out in the garage that night listening to music and working on, he said he was running the engine lathe, working on something in the garage. He's a mechanic. And she came out and hollered at him and told him that hey, it's getting really scary outside. I think you should come in. And he told me it was about 1 minute from when he turned the lathe off to they had a tornado completely destroy their entire house. An EF5 is the largest tornado in the world. They registered it as an EF4, 175 mile an hour wind. It was 5,100 feet wide. And it was on the ground for 55.6 miles. Also, it was the deadliest in this county. I don't know, it wasn't the state, it was the county who did the weather service.
Yeah, the weather service area that they encompassed. This was the worst that they had.
Yeah, which
they had reported on.
It started out as like 22 dead.
Something like that.
But then later on, it was saying like 17 or 18.
Yeah, it was more 19.
19? Okay. It made a path that we see from our property line, or our overlook up here, where we go up there sometimes and hang out, and you could see its full path where it came through from town and it passed by. They tracked debris at 30,000 feet in the air. My neighbor up here behind us, he got a call the other day from a county 2.5 hours from here. They found his tax documents. With all of this, we have learned that a storm shelter and communication is top priority. So we have 2 quotes right now out to get a storm shelter built, and we're gonna make something happen here real quick. And since that day, we got rid of the cable internet service and we went to Starlink. So now it's all satellite based, as well as a battery backup for it. So we should have 3 to 4 hours of internet use after we lose power that we can still communicate with each other, and she can still keep track of what's happening. And you know, that should be enough time. If not, I mean, we got a generator, so you know, by then we need to go down and get the generator hooked up and get the fridge plugged in and stuff anyways. So but we learned a lot through this, and I think a lot of people learned a lot as well, because it was a very eye-opening experience, and we're very thankful. So do you have anything else?
The only other thing I can think to add is just, it's been really touching how much the community has come together to help each other out. There were multiple communities affected, but our little community right here, the amount of donations and people checking on each other and making sure everybody's okay and doing whatever they can, even if it's just a lunch or a meal, or there was somebody who brought in paper bag lunches for us right after.
Yum.
They're making sure that we're okay. Just those kinds of things, it really means a lot, especially after something so heavy and devastating.
It's very nice to see that people from out of state, even our neighbor lost a whole second floor to his house, and the fire company stopped in the other day and they told us what has been happening over there. Somebody from North Carolina came in with a tractor trailer that never even met my neighbor, and they had insulation, building materials, wiring, and a whole crew of guys.
It's really sweet.
They don't even know who these people were. They just traveled 10 hours to come out here and just help. They just brought a whole bunch of stuff. It's very nice to see, and there's so many people out here that are like that. That just lost everything, and they don't even have insurance on their property. They don't have house insurance out here. A lot of people don't, which I didn't even know that. But you know, some of these people were talking to me and saying that they didn't know what they were going to do because like they don't have any insurance. Why they don't have insurance, I don't know. I guess they can't afford it. I don't know, but they just really don't have anything. So they're the ones that need the handouts the most, I think, and try to help. But
we live in a good community.
We do. 3 or 4 days before the tornado, I ended up hurting my back really bad. And for those of you that don't know, I did motocross, ATV racing, and dirt bike stuff like most of my life, and I ended up hurting my back really bad. My T6, 7, and 8 fractured them, compressed them like 30%. And so I've always had back problems. It didn't really affect me a whole lot, but I don't know, 6 years ago or more, I ended up having a rib like separate back there right by my spine, and it hurt really, really bad. And I went to a chiropractor, and he got it to like kind of go back into place and got me straightened out. And it's been so long since I've had any of that kind of experience. Well, like 3 or 4 days before the tornado hit, I woke up and couldn't hardly even put my socks on. It was that bad. So I was in extreme pain. I was dealing with trying to do my work stuff at work, as well as trying to keep moving forward here. But it almost like stopped me in my tracks. It really did. And then this tornado hit, and everybody's out here with chainsaws trying to help move trees and clean debris up and stuff. I felt very useless, and I still kind of do. Like, I feel like I really dropped the ball on being a good neighbor. And it really sucks for timing, because any other day I would have been all about going out and helping and trying to do what I can. So that was very upsetting, and it still is, because I feel bad that I could not be more of a neighbor than what I was. Just a couple days ago now, I ended up finding a good chiropractor here in town, and he got my back straightened out, and I feel way better now. So I am back to almost 100%, but I got to be a little careful so I don't end up messing it up again. But with the x-rays, what is happening is my spine is kind of like an S in this like T5, 6, 7, and 8 area. They're really crooked. So my like rib cage, I guess, is like almost trying to separate from the spine. It's like as my spine twists, it's trying to pull itself out. So as the chiropractor tries to straighten out my spine, and he tries to work my ribs back in to try to get them back where they need to be. So that's what happens. So I need to go to the chiropractor more often, I guess, so this doesn't happen again, because it hurt like crazy, and I guess I need to take better care of myself. But anyways, I'm gonna throw in some clips here. It took us a little while as well to make this video, because we needed to like recoup, I guess, accept and process what actually happened, and I needed permission as well with the video clips that I have here that I'm about to show you. I needed to ask for permission, but at the time that I recorded them, I didn't ask, because it was a very sad and very weird time. I never experienced stuff like this. So I recorded, I've captured some where I felt I could, but I didn't want to ask if I can put them on YouTube or social media or anything at that time. But then later, just a couple days ago, we went up there and talked to some of the neighbors, and they said it was fine to do what we want with the footage. So yeah, so we're going to play those clips now, and we'll catch you guys on the next video. Hopefully it's a little bit more uplifting, and back to house projects and whatever we get into around here. But is that it?
That's it.
All right, see you guys.
because it looks like that's the straight line that it took.
Well, the only thing helps is it's down low. It could have.
Yeah. I wonder if Jeremy's even seen that.
That is
I seen
insane.
it yesterday because I was like, dude, what in the world?
That single little stump is all that.
Wow. You look at that.
That's a strong stump.
Look at that. Hey, yo, I mean, it's just gone.
Like everything's wrapped around the telephone wires.
That's your tractor? Yeah, I can't do it off, and I think it's really heavy. Dude, was that just sitting like that?
Yes, what?
Read that.
A survivor search for
Survivor
me.
search for me is what it says. I just looked down and seen that.
How about that?
Hmm.
I don't know what that's all about. I may read that later.
No kidding, dude. I just looked down and it said, I mean, that's the page it's on.
Is that paperwork for a truck or something?
See if
There's
that's
so
his.
much stuff here. That was this woman. That lived
That's her.
next to us.
Okay.
That was the trailer.
Yeah, that's her. Something. This, watch the nails.
So yeah.
Oh, this is where you
Nothing
look?
fancy. And I hadn't even finished it out.
Wow.
That's where you guys were in here?
Yep.
See, I didn't know you'd done, because this used to be porch, didn't it? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Nick. So there was a cellar under it.
Yep. It was a cistern.
A cistern,
Yeah,
yeah,
because
yeah.
they didn't have running. They didn't have city water 25 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We've been here 22, probably about 5 years before we moved out. They finally did run. So like all these old houses.
Check that out, dude. That's what I'll be doing at the house.
I was listening, bud.
I mean, you don't have to have a whole.
Oh, yeah.
But you do need a concrete. You have to have a concrete ceiling. It would be like that.
Yeah.
For the whole house. Yeah. So he said he was down in that corner right there.
Yeah, right there. That boy, the little boy, and then so they were right in that corner. The only thing holding that up is whatever that is.
Holy cow.
It looks like.
Yeah.
That part's not.
Yeah, that's yeah. I bet you're right. I bet this is what flipped upside down. Ain't it?
Despite the devastation that you see behind me, this homeowner tells me that he has seen more good happen in the last 24 hours than he could have ever imagined.
This was our home for 22 years.
22 years gone in seconds.
From the time that we heard the hail hit the house till this was less than a minute. The pressure build up, the noise, the popping of the ears, and a gut feeling like you came off a roller coaster.
Jeremy and his wife buckled up, then survived without a scar. When I came up to you earlier, I mean, you gave me a handshake and a smile through all this. Where does that come from?
Knowing that none of this is important. Knowing God spared 10 lives here. Man, 10. It wasn't the case for those in London. Or man, my family's safe. We're good, dude.
Friday brought this community horror. Sunday now brings hope.
I'm so thankful. We're blessed.
Jeremy says strangers keep coming by offering help.
I don't know none of that stuff up there. They brought trailers, campers, machines, trucks, food, water, clothes. I'm ashamed to even take any more.
Which brings us back to that moment Jeremy and I first met.
I shook your hand because I get down on people, and the good people, 300 to 1.